The night the drums cried, the village of Umukuro did not sleep. Firelight shook on mud walls. Palm trees bent low as if listening. The wind moved like a whisper with a secret. Somewhere beyond the river, a drum beat once, then stopped. The elders said a single drumbeat at night meant betrayal had entered a home. In the center of the village lived Zalika, a young black woman known for her calm eyes and strong back. She carried water from the river before sunrise. She sang while pounding yam. She never raised her voice. People said her spirit was clean, like rain that falls on new earth. Zalika was married to Kunda, a hunter praised for his sharp spear and handsome face. When he walked, dust followed him like a loyal dog. When he spoke, people listened. The women admired him. The men respected him. Zalika trusted him. Her mother, Mama Masawa, lived with them. Mama Masawa was once the most beautiful woman in Umukuro. Even in age, her eyes still shone like dark stones underwater. She knew herbs, old songs, and stories of the ancestors. People feared her wisdom and respected her silence. She raised Zalika alone after her husband died near the mountains. That night, Zalika woke to the sound of breathing that was not hers. The fire had turned to red ash. The moonlight slipped through the roof and touched the sleeping mat beside her. It was empty. Her heart beat once. Hard. She stood slowly. The floor was cold. Outside, a hyena laughed far away. Zalika followed the sound of soft movement toward the inner room, the one where her mother slept. The door was half open. From inside came a sound that broke something deep inside her chest. A low whisper. A man's voice. A woman's breath. Zalika did not scream. She did not cry. She stood still, her shadow long on the wall, and watched the firelight dance like mocking spirits. The drum beat again. Once. Her hands shook, but her face stayed calm. She turned away and went outside. The night air cut her skin. She sat on a stone and looked at the stars, asking the ancestors if her eyes were lying. At dawn, the rooster crowed. Kunda came out of the inner room tying his cloth. His eyes avoided Zalika. Mama Masawa did not come out. Zalika cooked food in silence. The pot boiled too hard. Smoke filled the air. Kunda did not eat. He cleared his throat many times. Later that day, the elders were called. Under the great baobab tree, men with white beards sat on carved stools. Their walking sticks rested on the earth. Women stood behind, quiet as shadows. The wind carried dust and shame together. Kunda stood tall. Zalika stood still. Mama Masawa did not come. Kunda spoke first. His voice was smooth, trained by many lies. "I can no longer stay in this marriage," he said. "The spirits have turned their faces from us." Murmurs spread like ants. Zalika looked at the ground. She felt her heart burning, but her eyes were dry. The oldest elder, Barban woke, tapped his stick. "Why?" he asked. Kunda lifted his chin. "My wife is barren. The ancestors want a stronger womb in my house." A sharp breath moved through the women. Zalika slowly raised her head. "That is a lie," she said. Her voice was quiet but strong. "The healer said the spirits closed my womb for a season, not forever." Kunda did not look at her. Then Barban woke asked the question that cut the air. "Who will you marry instead?" Silence. Then footsteps. Mama Masawa walked forward. The village gasped. She wore red beads, the beads of forbidden choice. Her head was high. Her eyes did not meet Zalika's. "I will," Mama Masawa said. "The ancestors spoke to me." The world tilted. Zalika felt something fall inside her. Not tears. Not anger. Something colder. "Mother," she whispered. Mama Masawa did not answer. The elders argued. Voices rose. Some said it was cursed. Some said the spirits allow strange paths. The drum beat again, 3 times, far from the village. A warning beat. By sunset, the decision was made. Kunda divorced Zalika. He took her mother as his wife. The village watched as Zalika's marriage mat was rolled and placed outside. Dust covered her feet. Children stared. Women shook their heads. Men avoided her eyes. That night, Zalika walked alone to the river. The moon reflected her broken face. She knelt and washed her hands, as if betrayal were dirt. Tears fell, but the river took them without sound. Behind her, the forest moved. A cold wind touched her neck. The water darkened. A voice rose from the river, old, deep, and slow. "Daughter of pain," it said. "Do not die inside." Zelika froze. From the water rose a shape made of mist and moonlight. Eyes like fireflies. Hair like flowing weeds. It was Mami Wata, spirit of deep waters, keeper of secrets and revenge. "Your blood has been crossed," the spirit said. "Your home has been eaten by worms." Zelika bowed low, her forehead touching the wet ground. "I want peace," she whispered, though her heart screamed for justice. Mami Wata laughed softly. "Peace is earned. Truth has a price." The river shook. Drums echoed from nowhere and everywhere. "Go to the mountain of bones," the spirit said. "What was hidden will be revealed. What was stolen will return, but not without fire." The spirit sank back into the river. The water became calm. Zelika stood alone again. But she was no longer the same woman. Above Umukuro, thunder rolled without rain. And in Kunda's new house, the fire went out on its own. The ancestors had begun to walk. The morning after the river spoke, the village of Umukuro woke under a heavy sky. No rain fell, yet the air felt wet, like breath trapped in a closed mouth. Goats refused to leave their pens. Dogs howled and then went silent. The elders said when animals fear the morning, the spirits are awake. Zelika did not return to her old house. She slept near the edge of the forest, under a baobab tree older than memory. Its roots twisted like sleeping snakes. It was said ancestors rested inside that tree, listening to the living. At dawn, Zelika sat up slowly. Her body ached, but her mind was sharp. She remembered every word the river spirit spoke. The mountain of bones. Fire. Truth. She stood and brushed dust from her wrapper. Her shadow looked longer than before, as if it walked ahead of her. Back in the village, Kunda's new house was loud with forced joy. Mama Masawa walked proudly, her red beads shining. Women sang marriage songs, but their voices lacked warmth. Some sang out of fear. Others sang to hide their shame. Kunda smiled, but his sleep had been thin. All night he dreamed of drums beating inside his chest. He woke sweating, his heart racing like a hunted animal. Bad dreams mean nothing, he told himself. But when he stepped outside, his hunting dogs growled at him. One refused to follow him into the forest. Meanwhile, Zelika returned quietly to the village. People watched her from doorways. Some pitied her. Some feared her calm. She did not speak to anyone. She walked straight to the hut of old Nana Idu, the blind seer woman who spoke with bones and smoke. The smell of herbs filled the air. "I knew you would come," Nana Idu said before Zelika spoke. "Sit." Zelika sat on the earth. "The river spirit spoke to me," Zelika said. Nana Idu nodded. "Mami Wata does not waste words." Zelika's voice trembled. "She told me to go to the mountain of bones." The old woman leaned forward. "That mountain is not only stone and skulls. It is memory. It holds the sins of bloodlines." Zelika swallowed. "What waits there?" she asked. "Truth," Nana Idu said. "And choice." She burned herbs and threw cowrie shells onto a goatskin. The shells fell open, trembling. "The path will hurt you," Nana Idu warned. "But if you turn back, your pain will rot and become madness." Zelika closed her eyes. She saw her mother's face. Kunda's silence. The empty sleeping mat. "I will go," she said. That same day, sickness entered Kunda's house. Mama Masawa woke coughing, her chest tight. Her skin burned like fire under the sun. The healer came and shook his head. "This sickness has no leaf," he said quietly. "It is not of the body." At night, Mama Masawa dreamed. She stood in a field of dry bones. From the ground, voices rose. "Blood turned against blood," they whispered. She woke screaming. Kunda tried to hold her, but she pushed him away. For the first time, fear filled her eyes. "Something follows us," she said. Kunda laughed to hide his shaking hands. You fear old stories. But the fire refused to light that night. The next morning, Zelika left the village. She carried no weapon. Only a small calabash of water, dried yam, and a strip of white cloth Nana Idu gave her. The ancestors will see you, the old woman said. Keep your heart clean. Zelika walked through tall grass where the savannah whispered. She crossed the river where Mami Wata lived. The water was cold, but calm. She felt watched. As she climbed toward the mountains, the land changed. Trees twisted. Stones formed faces. Wind carried distant drums. Sometimes she heard her name called in her mother's voice. She did not answer. On the third night, spirits appeared. Small lights danced around her fire. Shadows stood beyond the trees. A deep voice spoke. Why do you walk toward bones, daughter? Zelika stood. Her legs shook, but she did not kneel. My home was eaten by lies, she said. I seek truth. A tall figure stepped forward, an ancestor warrior, his body marked with scars and ash. Truth burns, he said. It will burn your blood before it burns theirs. Zelika lifted her chin. I accept. The spirits vanished. Far away, in Umukro, the village suffered. Crops dried overnight. A child fell sick. The elders beat the drum of warning. This marriage is cursed, some whispered. Barban Woke visited Kunda. Strange things follow your house, the elder said. Blood must not climb backward. Kunda's face hardened. I followed my desire, he said. The spirits will understand. But that night, his spear snapped in two without force. Mamama Sawa grew weaker. Her eyes sank deep. When she looked at Kunda, love had turned into fear. She whispered, Zelika knows. Kunda's heart jumped. She is nothing now. But deep inside, doubt spread like poison. On the fifth day, Zelika reached the mountain. It stood tall and silent, shaped like a giant's back. White shapes lay scattered, bones bleached by time. Wind passed through them, making a low song, like crying. Zelika stepped onto the bones. The ground shook. From the mountain rose voices, many, angry, ancient. Blood was broken, they cried. A mother crossed the forbidden line. A husband drank from a poisoned well. Zelika fell to her knees. A shadow formed before her, tall and heavy. Eyes burned like embers. You stand at the turning point, the voice said. Choose. The wind howled. Drums thundered in the sky. Behind her lay pain and loss. Ahead lay fire. Zelika lifted her face, tears shining in the moonlight. I choose truth, she said. The mountain answered with a roar. And far away, in Umukro, Mamama Sawa collapsed, calling her daughter's name. The ancestors had accepted the path. The mountain did not sleep. When Zelika chose truth, the wind changed its song. The bones beneath her feet trembled, knocking against each other like teeth in a cold mouth. Dust rose into the air and formed faces, old faces, young faces, faces with empty eyes and broken mouths. Zelika stood still. Fear moved through her, but she did not run. A deep crack opened in the mountain, wide enough for a person to enter. From inside came a smell of old earth and sorrow. Drums beat slowly, as if the mountain itself had a heart. Enter, the voices said together. Zelika tied the white cloth around her waist and stepped inside. The air was cold. Walls glowed faintly, covered with symbols drawn in blood and ash. Bones lined the path, human, animal, some too large to name. Each step echoed like a drumbeat in her chest. As she walked deeper, visions began to rise. She saw her childhood, her mother singing while grinding grain, her laughter warm and full. Zelika smiled softly. Then the vision shifted. She saw Mamama Sawa younger, standing before a shrine, her eyes full of hunger. A voice whispered promises of beauty, desire, and power. Mamama Sawa offered something unseen, something precious. Zelika gasped. So it began long ago, she whispered. The mountain spoke again, louder now. Your mother broke the line before you were born, it said. She fed her desire with forbidden fire. What you suffer today is the echo of yesterday. Zelika's legs weakened. She leaned against the wall. All her life, she believed her pain began with Kunda. But now she saw roots buried deep in blood and choice. Ahead, the path opened into a wide chamber. In the center stood a stone bowl filled with dark water. Above it hovered a spirit, neither man nor woman, its body shifting like smoke in moonlight. "I am the rememberer," the spirit said. "I show what blood tries to hide." The water in the bowl moved. "Look," the spirit commanded. Zalika looked. The water showed Kunda. She saw him as a boy, watching Mama Sawa from a distance, his eyes filled with desire long before Zalika entered his life. She saw Mama Sawa encourage his gaze, feed it with smiles and secret touches. Zalika's chest tightened. "So he chose her long before me," she whispered. "Yes," said the rememberer. "You were the bridge, not the destination." Tears fell into the stone bowl, mixing with the dark water. "Why me?" Zalika asked. "Why did I have to carry their sin?" The spirit's eyes glowed brighter. "Because you were born with a clean heart," it said. "Only clean hands can touch fire without becoming ash." The chamber shook. From the shadows, ancestors stepped forward. Women with scarred backs, men with broken spears, children with hollow eyes. They surrounded Zalika in a wide circle. One elder woman spoke. "Our bloodline has eaten itself for generations," she said. "Desire over duty. Hunger over love." Another voice followed. Each time, someone suffered in silence. The ancestors turned their eyes to Zalika. "Now," they said together, "the silence must end." The rememberer lifted one long arm. "There are two paths," it said. "One of mercy, one of justice." Images rose in the air. In the first, Zalika returned home quietly. The sickness lifted. Life continued. But the lie stayed buried. The curse slept, not dead. In the second, truth burned through Yumukuro like fire through dry grass. Shame would rise. Blood would cry. Some would fall, but the curse would end. Zalika's hands shook. "If I choose justice," she said slowly, "will I also be burned?" "Yes," the spirit replied. "Truth does not choose sides." Silence fell. Zalika remembered the river. The empty mat. The red beads on her mother's neck. The way the village looked at her like she was already a ghost. She lifted her head. "I will not protect lies," she said. "Even if they are my blood." The ancestors nodded. The rememberer reached into the bowl and pulled out a glowing ember, small but fierce. "This is the fire of naming," the spirit said. "When truth is spoken with it, lies collapse." The ember floated into Zalika's chest. Pain exploded. She screamed. The fire did not burn her skin, but her soul. Every hurt, every silence, every betrayal rose inside her like a storm. She fell to the ground, shaking. The ancestors began to sing low, ancient songs that wrapped around her pain and shaped it into strength. When the fire settled, Zalika lay still. Slowly, she rose. Her eyes were different now, clearer, deeper, like a river after rain. "You must return," the rememberer said. "The time has come." The mountain opened behind her, showing the path back. As Zalika stepped out, the bones fell silent. Far away, Yumukuro burned with confusion. Mama Sawa's sickness worsened. Her dreams turned violent. She screamed names of ancestors she never met. Her red beads cracked and fell apart. Kunda tried to leave the village to hunt, but his feet refused to move beyond the gate. Every path led him back to his house. The elders gathered again. "This is no ordinary curse," Barban Woke said, fear shaking his voice. "Someone has awakened the past." That night, Zalika returned to the edge of the village. No one saw her enter, but the drums began to beat. Slow, heavy, unstoppable. Zalika stood in the shadows, the fire of naming burning quietly in her chest. Tomorrow, truth would walk openly, and Yumukuro would never be the same again. The drums did not stop at dawn. They beat slowly, deeply, as if the earth itself had found a voice. People of Yumukuro woke with heavy hearts. Women held their children tighter. Men avoided each other's eyes. Even the elders felt their knees weaken. Drums like that meant one thing. Truth was coming. Zelika walked into the village when the sun was still low. Dust clung to her feet, but she did not brush it away. Her eyes were calm. Too calm. People stepped aside as she passed. Some whispered her name like a prayer. Others like a warning. She stopped at the center of the village, under the great baobab tree. The same tree where her marriage was ended. The same tree where lies were spoken. "Kunda," she said, her voice steady. "Come out." The wind rose. Kunda stepped from his house slowly. His face was thin. His eyes were red from sleepless nights. Behind him, Mama Sawa leaned on the doorway, weak, shaking, wrapped in heavy cloth. Her once proud posture had bent. "What do you want?" Kunda asked. Zelika looked at him, then at her mother. "I want truth to stand where lies were born," she said. The elders gathered, drawn by the drums. Barban Woke leaned on his stick, his face pale. "Daughter," he said, "careful. Some fires cannot be controlled." Zelika nodded. "This fire was lit before me." She stepped forward. "The ancestors walked with me," she said. "They showed me what was hidden." Mama Sawa's breath caught. Zelika turned to her mother. "You fed desire with forbidden fire long ago," Zelika said. "Before I was born." The village gasped. Mama Sawa shook her head violently. "She lies." Zelika lifted her hand. The air shimmered. The fire of naming stirred inside her chest. Visions rose between them like smoke. The villagers saw Mama Sawa at a shrine, young and beautiful, offering blood and promise for beauty and power. They saw men fall for her, families break, women weep in silence. Cries filled the air. Mama Sawa screamed and fell to her knees. "No," she cried. "I did what I had to survive." Zelika's voice softened, but did not bend. "And I paid the price," she said. "So did many others." Kunda stepped back, his face white. Zelika turned to him. "You desired her before you desired me," she said. "You used me as a bridge." Kunda opened his mouth, but no words came. Sweat rolled down his face. The fire of naming flared. Another vision rose. The village saw Kunda as a boy, watching Mama Sawa in secret. They saw his hunger grow into obsession. They saw him marry Zelika with a heart already divided. The elders cried out. "This marriage is an abomination," someone shouted. Mama Sawa crawled toward Zelika, her hands trembling. "My daughter," she sobbed. "Forgive me. I was afraid of becoming nothing." Zelika's eyes filled with tears, but she did not step back. "I forgive you as my mother," she said quietly. "But the ancestors must judge you as a woman." Thunder rolled across the sky. The ground shook. From the earth rose shadows, ancestors long silenced by shame. They stood tall, surrounding the village. Their eyes burned, not with anger, but with demand. "Enough," they said together. The elders fell to the ground. Mama Sawa screamed as pain twisted her body. Her sickness reached its peak. Red marks appeared on her skin like burning handprints. Kunda tried to run. His feet sank into the earth like roots. "You cannot flee truth," a voice boomed. The ancestors spoke again. "Blood that climbs backward poisons the land," they said. "The price must be paid." Zelika's heart raced. She had expected fire. She had expected destruction. She had not expected this pain. "Must they die?" she asked the spirits, her voice breaking. One ancestor stepped forward, a woman with kind eyes and a scar across her face. "No," she said. "But they must fall." The sky darkened. Mama Sawa's red beads shattered completely. She cried out as her strength left her. Her beauty faded like smoke in wind. Her hair turned white before the village's eyes. Kunda screamed as his hunting strength drained away. His muscles weakened. His proud back bent. "They will live," the ancestor said, "but never rise again." Silence fell. Rain began to pour, heavy, cleansing, cold. Zelika fell to her knees, sobbing. Not in victory. In release. The ancestors began to fade. Before leaving, they spoke once more. "Daughter of truth," they said to Zelika, "do not carry what is no longer yours." When the rain stopped, Yumukro was changed. Mamama Sawa lay weak, unable to stand without help. Kunda sat in the mud, broken and small. The elders approached Zalika. "You have shaken the roots of this land," Barbanwoke said. "The final judgment has not yet come." Zalika wiped her face. "I did not seek revenge," she said. "Only truth." Barbanwoke nodded slowly. "Then prepare," he said. "Because truth always demands a final answer." As night fell, Zalika walked away from the center of the village. Behind her, Kunda wept like a child. Ahead of her, the path glowed faintly, lit by unseen fire. The climax was near, and the land was holding its breath. Night fell on Yumukro like a heavy cloth. No stars shone. No moon rose. Darkness covered the village, thick and watching. Even the insects were silent, as if afraid to speak. The elders gathered one last time. A great fire was lit in the center of the village. Its flames rose high, casting long shadows that twisted like spirits on the ground. The drum of judgment was brought out, an old drum wrapped in animal skin, used only when the ancestors demanded a final answer. Zalika stood near the fire. She felt the fire of naming burning gently in her chest, no longer wild, but awake. Kunda was brought forward. He walked slowly, leaning on a stick. His proud hunter's body was gone. His eyes were empty, filled only with fear. Behind him came Mamama Sawa, carried by two women. Her once beautiful face was thin and broken. Her eyes no longer held fire, only regret. The village formed a wide circle. Barbanwoke lifted his hands. "Tonight," he said, "the spirits will decide what remains and what must end." The drum beat once. Boom! A cold wind rushed through the village. The fire bent sideways but did not go out. From the darkness beyond the circle, shapes began to form. Ancestors. Warriors with broken spears. Mothers with empty arms. Elders with heavy eyes. They stepped into the firelight, silent and powerful. The people fell to their knees. Zalika did not. She felt fear, but she also felt strength. One ancestor stepped forward, tall and wrapped in white ash. Blood was crossed, the spirit said. A daughter was used. A mother betrayed her own womb. A man drank from forbidden water. The spirit turned to Zalika. "Daughter of truth," it said, "what do you ask?" The question shook her. All eyes turned to her. Zalika's heart raced. For a moment, she thought of pain, of loneliness, of the years stolen from her. Then she spoke. "I ask for freedom," she said. "For myself. And for the land." The ancestors murmured. The spirit nodded. "And what of them?" it asked, pointing to Kunda and Mamama Sawa. Zalika looked at her mother. She saw fear. She saw shame. She saw a woman who had once held her as a baby. Tears filled Zalika's eyes. "They must live with what they chose," she said softly. "But they must never harm again." The drum of judgment beat again. Boom! Boom! The ground trembled. The ancestors raised their hands. Fire rose from the earth, circling Kunda and Mamama Sawa. It did not burn their flesh, but it burned something deeper. Kunda screamed as visions filled his mind, every lie, every betrayal, every stolen moment. He fell to the ground, shaking. Mamama Sawa cried out as her past rose before her, every heart she broke, every boundary she crossed. Her voice cracked until no sound came out. When the fire faded, both lay still. The ancestor spoke again. "Kunda, you will never take another wife," the spirit said. "Your seed ends here." Kunda sobbed, pressing his face into the dirt. The spirit turned to Mamama Sawa. "You will live," it said, "but you will be seen for who you truly are. No beauty will hide your deeds." Mamama Sawa closed her eyes, tears slipping silently down her face. The ancestor then faced Zalika. "You are released," it said. "Your womb is no longer closed." The village gasped. A warm wave passed through Zalika's body. She felt light, free, whole. Thunder rolled in the distance. Rain began to fall again, gentle this time, washing the dust and blood from the land. The ancestors slowly faded back into the darkness. The drum stopped. Silence returned. When morning came, the sky was clear. Birds sang again. Kunda was taken to a small hut at the edge of the village. He lived, but no one followed him. No one feared him. He became a shadow of what he was. Mama Sawa stayed alive, but her pride was gone. She walked with a bent back, avoided by those who once admired her. Zulika stood at the river at sunrise. Mummy Wata rose once more, smiling gently. You chose truth without hate, the spirit said. That is rare. Zulika bowed. I only wanted peace. Mummy Wata touched the water. Then walk forward, she said. Your path is no longer tied to theirs. The river sparkled. Zulika turned away from Yumukuro, not in anger, not in shame, but in strength. Behind her, the village breathed again. Ahead of her, a new life waited. The final lesson was ready to be spoken. The sun rose slowly over the land, gentle and kind. For the first time in many seasons, Yumukuro woke without fear. The air felt lighter. The wind no longer whispered secrets. The drums were silent, resting at last. Women stepped outside their huts and breathed deeply. Men lifted their faces to the sky. Children laughed without knowing why. The land had accepted the judgment. But Zulika was already gone. Before dawn, she walked away from the village with only a small bundle on her back. She did not look behind her. The past no longer pulled her like a chain. She followed the river. Its water moved calmly now, clear and bright, reflecting the sky like a mirror. Birds dipped into it. Fish broke the surface, free and playful. Zulika knelt and touched the water. Thank you, she whispered, not only to the river, but to the ancestors, to the pain, to the truth that nearly broke her. The river answered with a soft ripple. As she walked, memories passed through her like shadows. They no longer cut her. They no longer burned. They simply existed. By midday, she reached a wide-open land beyond the mountains, a place where savanna met forest, where traders passed and new villages formed. Smoke rose in the distance. Life moved forward there. Zulika stopped beneath a tall tree and rested. For the first time, she felt hunger, not of pain, but of hope. Back in Yumukuro, the elders gathered once more. Barban Woke stood beneath the baobab tree and spoke to the people. Let this day be remembered, he said. Not as a day of shame, but as a day of learning. The people listened. When blood betrays blood, the land suffers, he continued. When desire walks without respect, families fall. And when silence protects evil, the innocent bleed. Women nodded. Men lowered their heads. Kunda and Mama Sawa still live among us, Barban Woke said. But they are warnings, not leaders. Kunda sat outside his hut, staring at nothing. He hunted no more. His spear lay broken, untouched. He lived, but his name carried no weight. Mama Sawa moved slowly through the village, her eyes always low. The beauty she once used as power was gone. Now she was only a woman facing her choices every day. Neither spoke Zulika's name. Neither could escape it. Seasons passed. The land healed. Crops grew strong again. Children were born. Rain came on time. The curse that once sat heavy on Yumukuro lifted like fog under the sun. And far away, Zulika built a new life. She reached a riverside village where strangers welcomed her without questions. She worked. She laughed again. She sang while grinding grain, just as she once did, but now her song carried strength. People noticed her calm spirit. Elders sought her counsel. Women sat beside her and found comfort. Children followed her like shadows. One evening, as the sky turned gold, Zulika felt a familiar warmth in her body. She smiled. In time, she became a mother. She held her child by the river and told stories of ancestors, of truth, of courage. She taught that love must never eat itself. That respect must guard desire. That silence can be as dangerous as evil. Years later, Zulika returned once to Yumukuro, not to stay, but to stand. She stood beneath the baobab tree and poured water on the earth. I am free, she said softly. The wind moved through the leaves like approval. No one stopped her. No one spoke against her. She left again, her spirit unbroken, her path her own. And so the elders began to tell this story to the young ones, late at night, when firelight danced and drums rested. They said, "A woman once chose truth over comfort. She faced blood with courage. She did not destroy with hate, but healed with truth." And they ended with a warning that echoed through generations. When desire breaks sacred lines, it destroys many lives. When truth is buried, it rots the land. But when courage speaks, even against blood, the spirits listen. The curse ends, and the innocent are set free. This is the law of the ancestors.